Hi students, in this video I am going to talk about the project management. Uh, First of all, let us begin with a question as to what a project is. In order to answer uh, this question, first we need to see the different types of works carried out in an organization. So, in an organization, works carried out can be broadly divided into two categories: new tasks and routine tasks. And the new tasks with specified accomplishment objectives can be termed as projects. Routine tasks are not considered to be projects. New tasks are considered to be projects. And why new tasks are considered to be projects, we can see from the characteristics of a project later in the later slides. So now if we try to define a project is defined as a temporary endeavor or undertaken to create a new product or service to achieve specified objectives of an organization within the assigned resources. Some examples of the projects are construction of a building or a facility, development of a new product or a service, designing of new transportation system, and the hydropower projects that are running currently in our country, that are being implemented in our country these days. Now moving on to the characteristics of a project. First characteristics of a project is that each project has a specified mission or a purpose that has to be achieved within the given time, budget, and quality specification. So, one characteristic of a project is that the given or specified mission or a purpose that is defined for something to be done in the form of project must be achieved within the given time, budget, and quality specification. Another characteristic of a project is that each project has a predetermined duration with a definite beginning and an identifiable end. So therefore, the organization of a project is temporary. Once the project is completed, the project team will be disbanded. So therefore, project organization is a temporary organization. Because it has a predetermined duration, it will at one point or identifiable at an identifiable time will come to an end and the project team will have to be disbanded. Further, each project is unique and no two projects are ever alike. This is because uh, projects differ from each other in one or more influencing factors such as the client, the contractor, quality specifications, resources employed, responsibilities delegated, the project environment. So, no two projects are ever alike. Uh, Suppose a project uh, same a project with the same design, for example, construction of a building. Uh, the construction of a building, the for the construction of a building, the factors like the client, for example, the management team, for example, in the GENIC, if we are constructing a building of the same design which was constructed 5 years before. The people involved in the management of the project from the client's side may be different. So therefore, the project will be different from that respect from the project that was implemented 5 years ago. Also, from the contractor's point of view, the construction of building now may be different and the contractor involved for the construction of the building now may be different from the contractor who constructed the building 5 years before. So, from all these factors, because of the change in all these factors, no two projects are ever alike because the way it is implemented will be different. People who actually work on the project will be different. The weather condition and climatic condition may be different. The economic situation also may be different. So many factors may be different from one project to another project, although you are although we may be constructing the same facility that was done, for example, 5 years before. Another characteristics of the project is that a project has a life cycle because a project has a predetermined duration. Project has a life cycle and it starts with an idea or a need being conceived by the client, and then it ends when the mission is accomplished, which means when the product or a facility is finally construction or provision of construction of a product or a provision of a service is completed, then it will come to an end. So the time between the start and completion of a project is called project life cycle. Another characteristics of a project is that the project life cycle comprises of different project phases. Um, Usually the phases that the project life cycle is broken down uh, into are project initiation or scope formulation phase, project planning phase, project execution phase, project control phase, and project close-up phase. If you look at this figure, also you can find certain characteristics where a project has a start and a finish time, and the level of effort which is uh, uh, which is measured on the vertical axis here. It changes from the start of the project to the finish of the project, and it actually the peak of the effort, level of effort, or the amount of effort required actually skews towards the end. Here you can see it starts with a slow start, and then the level of effort increases towards the end, and then the effort decreases. Another characteristics of a project is that the probability of successfully completing the project is lowest at the beginning or the start of the project, and hence the risk and uncertainty of completing the project successfully is highest in the beginning. The probability of completion gradually increases, and risks are reduced as the project progresses. The thing here is that in the beginning, as the project begins, maybe as the project begins with the digging of foundation, uh, we never know because of many uh, influencing factors. The project may end up, or the project may have to close down at the time of digging foundation itself, because of certain situation. Once the project actually starts and the progresses, uh, then the probability of completing the project increases as the structures are raised from the ground towards the roof, for example in the construction of a building. The ability of Another characteristics is that the ability of stakeholders to influence the final project cost of the project is highest at the start and becomes progressively lower as the project continues. So in the beginning, the stakeholders can negotiate and a decision can be arrived as in the beginning. But once the project budget is finalized and the project gets started, and in between, if there is a need for changing or increasing the amount required, then it will be very difficult, because there will be lot of resistance from those funding the project. So now if we look at the different phases in little more detail. Project initiation phase aims to formulate the project scope and also implementation strategy if the project is approved for implementation. So at the end of this phase, it marks the client's go ahead or no go ahead decision. If the project, during the project initiation phase, if the client do not give a go ahead signal or approve for implementation, then the project will not proceed further. So some of the activities involved in the project initiation phase are need identification. Because of the need identification, project may start, and the need identification is included as one of the phases in the project initiation phase. Then other activities may be feasibility study, investment appraisal, project scope definition as you saw in the previous slide, and preparation of project charter. So project charter is nothing but a document that outlines the project scope, project objective, preliminary plans, and organization for the execution of project. So project charter will contain information about the scope of the project, objectives of the project, some preliminary plans on how to implement the project, and then decision on the project organization, and the end of the initiation phase marks the start of the project management process. Actual project management actually starts at the end of the initiation phase. Then project planning phase. The objective of this phase is to develop a workable plan to accomplish the project mission. So, in broad sense, planning involves intellectual thinking in advance as to what is to be done, where it is to be done, how it is to be done, and so on. And the activities involved in project planning phase are design and drawing, time planning, which actually is nothing but scheduling, project scheduling. Then after the project scheduling is done, then resource planning is done. Then after the resource planning along with scheduling is done, then cost planning and budgeting is done. Then after that communication planning is done, quality planning, organizational planning, risk management planning, contract procurement planning. All these are done during the project planning phase. Then the execution phase. This is concerned with the coordination and management of the people and other resources to carry out the plan. And the activities involved in project execution phase are project site organization, resource mobilization, scope quality assurance, organization, team development, information distribution, contract administration and management, safety management, etc. Then project controlling phase. In fact, project controlling phase actually starts. It is not really a completely different phase. It is the project controlling actually happens during the time of project execution phase. So some of the activities involved in project controlling phase are overall scope change control, resource control, schedule control, cost control, quality control, risk response control, performance reporting. Then the closing phase actually consists of the formal acceptance of the project, and it brings the project to an orderly end. So during the project closing phase, the project team also prepares a project completion report which includes all this information in the document. The scope and schedule of work, important events in the project implementation, contract executed, addresses of the suppliers of materials and equipment, so on and so forth, and the lessons learned and minor defects noticed at the time of handing over, and instructions to the contractors to uh, actually attend to the minor defects that are uh, observed taking during the taking over of the facility or service. So some of the activities in the closing phase are administrative close and contract close. So during the closing phase, the project administration and management will be stopped, and the contract will be closed after signing the handing taking over document, and then after preparing the project completion report which you saw here. Okay, so this is the end, so I'll stop here. Thank you.